What's up, MTV, and welcome to my crib. I was really contemplating not doing that, but I can't help myself.
Okay, I have to.
So if you've watched some of my previous videos, you would have known that I recently moved to Tokyo. I moved into this apartment over 2 months ago now. I finally feel like it's basically completely set up, so I thought I would give you guys a little tour. I also wanted to take this opportunity to show you guys a few ways in which I try and live more sustainably, and maybe you could also implement that in your life and in your apartment or house or wherever you may be residing. Also, apologies in advance, I am a little bit sick, so that's why I sound like this. But without further ado, let me show you my crib. Okay, starting off, so this is obviously my front door, cool. My mail comes in that little box, and yes, I do need to check my mail, but I can see right now that they're all advertisements anyways. Okay, we're starting off strong with the genkan. Now, if you guys know anything about Japanese houses, you would know that we always have a little area to put our outdoor shoes. Strictly a no shoes household in every single house in this country. But this is a pretty spacious genkan. How do I show you for perspective? This is me in the space. It's a pretty spacious genkan, if I do say so myself. It also looks like 5 different people live here because I have all my shoes laid out. A word of advice, if you ever visit someone's house in Japan, take your shoes off because, as Roddy Rich says, don't wear no shoes in my house. So from the genkan, we have a little step, and this is officially inside my apartment. Right next to us here, we have some closet space, which is awesome because I need all the storage I can get. And look at that, we have a full-length mirror. Now, if we turn around, a little sneak peek, I think you may be able to see my bathroom. So this is obviously where I get ready in the morning and brush my teeth and all that good stuff. This vanity type thing also comes with these lights, which I really love because it really does feel like a little vanity. It's got all these built-in shelves, which are awesome. So that's that. We've got some more storage down there. And then here we've got my very own washing machine. In my old place in Melbourne, the washing unit was actually down the hall, so we would share it with the whole apartment block, which was a bit of a pain. Sometimes I just wouldn't want to see people and I'd have to bump into my neighbors. Also, that washing machine was leaking maybe 5 times in the year that I lived there. But this one here has been working fantastic. So the first sustainable thing that we are doing in this household is I don't actually have a dryer. So we're saving a lot of energy and electricity on not having a dryer. I mean, I do have to be strategic about the days that I do my laundry because obviously I need to hang it outside when it's sunny. In saying that, I feel like a dryer is definitely a luxury. It's not necessarily a... What's the opposite of a luxury? A necessity, thank you. I wouldn't call it a necessity. Is part of the reason I don't have a dryer also because I couldn't afford it and don't have the space for it? Yes. But in saying that, I think using your dryer less is something that you could implement in your daily life that would save the environment a lot of energy and electricity, which is obviously a plus. So that is the first thing that I do in this bathroom to be a little bit more sustainable. Another thing I do, I've been using this moisturizer for a while now, and they actually have refill packets. So you don't actually have to buy a whole new plastic bottle with all of these plastics. I know this also comes in plastic, but it's a lot less waste than it would be to buy a new bottle. So that's another thing that I do. I buy refillables instead of buying a complete new bottle. And that is something that you could maybe implement. Maybe if your country doesn't have that for skincare, you could look into that for your hand soaps and your shampoo and conditioner and all that kind of good stuff. I just realized I didn't give you the whole tour. So this is what I use to hang my laundry. This is my little laundry basket. She's hiding because there's a lot of laundry in there. This whole shelving unit I think is really handy. It fits just nicely around the washing machine, and I basically just put all my towels up there. And then this is a little magnetic towel drying rack, which has been really good because if we move over here, we've got my shower. Now, I'm not gonna go into way too much detail here because there's really not much, but we've got a bath here, which I rarely use, a laundry hanging pole, so if I really do need to do my laundry, but it's raining or whatever, I can always hang it here, and that's not a problem. And then we've got our shower head, our little mirror, nice shower necessities. These things also, I do buy refillables whenever I need to top it up, so there's that. We're saving on plastic once again. Little speaker because gotta blast my music in the shower, sorry. It can't be helped. And I feel like that's a little too much information on my shower, so let's move on. Also, I forget that this even has a door. Because I live alone, I obviously don't shut that very often. But anyway, this is a huge necessity in my house. I could not live without it. Obviously kidding, but it is a Bob's Burgers poster. Not that this is like my favorite movie in the world, but I think it really brightens up the house, and I'm quite happy that it's here, and it brings me a lot of joy. And moving on, this is my bathroom. Nothing too crazy in here either. It is a Japanese toilet, so we've got heat warmers, we've got bidets, we've got the whole shebang, which is awesome. I love that so much. Stuck up some little decorations. I also have my little magazines in here, which look pretty sad sitting here, if I do say so myself. Yeah, nothing too much to see in here, just the toilet. So moving on to the main room in the house, and because it's a studio apartment, it is the only room in the house. So we've got this little door so I can keep this front part of the house separate. But if we walk in here, to our right, we've got the kitchen. It isn't the biggest thing in the world, but it's very handy dandy for me, myself, and I. These little drying racks and shelving units, they're all from this place in Japan called Nitori. If you guys live here, you probably know about it. But if you don't, or you're just not familiar, oh my goodness, I love Nitori. It's basically the Japanese version of IKEA, but they just have a lot of things that are meant for small spaces, because obviously a lot of people in Japan live in small apartments. So we try to maximize and utilize our space. E.g., this drying rack is seriously one of the best things that I've ever had. So it's double shelved and has this little spout, so all the water that comes off of the dishes goes straight into my sink, which makes a lot of sense. And here we've got our little recycling box, which I hope everyone at home has a recycling box. Granted, in Japan they do separate the trash and recycle stuff anyways, but stuff like glass bottles, plastic bottles, and cans and stuff like that need to be separate. So this is my little recycling box, which used to be my rice cooker box. So that's also something that I've inherently recycled, which is great. Speaking of rice cooker, another thing that I do that's a little bit more sustainable is I cook my rice on eco mode. Now, is cooking my rice on eco mode life-changing and saving the earth? Maybe not. But it does save electricity, and I feel like even the smallest little difference, it matters. It really does. If you're wondering what this bag of stuff is, I just have this little bag of reusable paper bags, because if you're gifting something to someone or shopping, or I don't know, like they come in handy quite a lot, and it's better to reuse them than to just throw them away, in my opinion, which technically is recycling. So recycle whenever you can. I think that is the main objective. Now, another thing that I really love about this kitchen, you might be wondering, where are all your pantry supplies? Let me show you. Oh, very handy. It's just a super thin shelf that rolls in and out, so it literally takes up no space at all, and it's been really handy dandy because I can just tuck it away when I don't need it. To be honest though, I do leave it out most of the time, also just because it looks more homey in my opinion. So yeah, all my pantry items are basically in this little shelf, and I can tuck it away, and it fits right next to my tiny little fridge. I actually want to show you another quick thing that I do to live slightly more sustainably. So instead of using plastic wraps for my fresh vegetables and fruits, I use this reusable beeswax cloth. This one I made a couple weeks ago. I want to say it was maybe a month ago. It's basically a piece of cloth that I melted some beeswax into. So now it's water resistant, which is cool. And I've just wrapped my little used carrot. I also used the top of the carrot instead of the bottom. I don't know why I did that. Basically, this acts as a plastic wrap, but I can reuse it. So that's obviously a lot more sustainable. And then here's my little stove where the magic happens. I'm really lucky because I actually have 2 burners, which is awesome. And we've got this little hood, which has a light and a fan. If you guys have watched my previous videos, either of my moving in vlog when I was moving into an apartment on my own in Melbourne, or one of my other videos when I was living there, that apartment costed more than this one does. And mind you, it might be a little bit bigger square meter wise, but the amenities that this place has is so much better than the other place. I remember my old apartment didn't even have a hood with a fan or anything above the stove, which is It's kind of crazy because then where does all that condensation go? I feel like that's bad for mold and things like that. Not my problem anymore, thank goodness. That place served its purpose. Thank you for your service. But I'm way happier here, I can't lie. Anyway, so under here we've got some storage. I keep all my pans and little bits and bobs there. Got some more storage up here as well, which is where my plates and stuff go. Let's move on to this side of the house. So we've got a little intercom thing here, which, to be honest, I rarely ever use because I don't really know how to use it and nobody visits me ever. So there's that. And here is my closet. Now, mind you, it is not the most well-kept thing in the world, so I don't want you guys judging me, but the doors open up like this. A little walk-in closet, if you will. It is technically walk-in, like I'm walking in right now. I'd call that a walk-in closet, whatever, it's no biggie. Now, another thing that I do that is considered sustainable, that you guys probably already do, to be honest, is thrifting. Yep. So when I moved out of Australia, I donated so much of my clothes because I obviously had to cut down on how much I was bringing over here. Now, in saying that, I try my best, if I do buy new clothes, to buy secondhand. Obviously, that's also considered recycling and it's way better for the environment. The fashion industry is a huge contributor to the issue of overconsumption and overproduction. I mean, as we all know, right? And I'm not hating on anyone that is into fashion and likes clothes because all power to you. I respect that. If that's your passion, that's cool. But for me, personally, you can probably tell by the fits that I rock up in this channel, I'm not really a fashion girly. I try and find staple pieces secondhand. This, for example, one of my favorite sweaters ever, and this was maybe $7 when I got it from a secondhand store. One of my absolute favorite finds, okay? This one I'm actually excited about. This high neck, slim fitted brown top with a little opening in the back. Super chic, super cute. I love it so much. Again, $5. Are you kidding? And I checked the brand and it's actually from some brand in New York, which is kind of crazy. And I paid $5 for it. So I'm sure I don't have to tell you, but buying secondhand clothes, obviously better for the environment. Try doing that. And when you do that, you can find unique pieces that only you probably have. And that's pretty cool. So let's move on. So on the other side of the kitchen, we've got my bar counter. So this is where I normally have all my meals. It's obviously not the biggest space in the world, but you could probably fit 2 people. We've also got this little overhead light, very handy. So there's that. Another thing I do is I reuse my old margarine or butter containers. If I have leftovers or anything like that, I can just pop them in there. Again, reusing, reducing, and recycling is the mantra for this video. So yeah, that's another easy thing that you can implement. And moving on to this section. So this is my little reading nook, if you will.
Okay, before we continue with the tour, I just wanted to show you the newest addition to my reading nook. We've got this beautiful green Persian rug. I went to my grandparents' house the other day and my granddad said that he didn't need this carpet anymore. So again, we are repurposing and finding a new home for things that people don't necessarily want anymore. And I think it looks really cute here.
Oh, this is genuinely such a comfortable chair. It was super cheap as well, and it is also from Nitori. Basically, in the mornings, I will have my coffee. I'll set it aside on this shelf here, and I will read my books. I've got my Kindle and my other book that I'm reading at the moment just sitting over here next to my little Monstera plant, which I love very dearly. We've got this light here, which has this little remote, so you can change the color on this thing, and I will show you guys some clips of it at night because it obviously looks better at night. And I can also change the angle, so if I'm reading, then I can always flip it around, and now I have light to read. It's awesome. Besides the fact that this light is super cool and can change colors and brightness, another reason I really love this light is that it's actually an LED bulb. So this particular LED bulb consumes 85% less energy than a normal incandescent light bulb, and it also lasts 20 times longer. I like a mood light. I don't like using the main lights in my house. I feel like a lot of people may be the same way. I just don't like the big white light. It's not really the vibe. With all of my extra little light sources, I try to make all of my extra lightings LED because LED does consume a lot less energy. So that's another thing to consider if you're furnishing your house or you're wanting to change up the mood lighting a little bit. Go for some LEDs because they consume a lot less energy. Speaking of saving energy, let me turn off the kitchen light. Before we move on, I'll give you a quick little tour of this shelf. So, first and foremost, we have our little donut light here, which I am such a big fan of this light, okay? Like, I can't express to you guys. I've been wanting this light for yonks, and the fact that I have it in my apartment is crazy, and I'm so happy that I was able to get this. I'm such a big fan. This is a little Jomon statue, which it's basically this really old figure that they found in Nagano, which is actually where part of my family is from. But they basically found, obviously not this exact one, because the exact one is in a museum, but they found this little Venus statue, and everyone was super perplexed, like, where did it come from? Who made it? All these questions. And I just really, really like it, so I got the replica statue. I feel like I'm giving Ross Geller right now, and I'm not a huge fan of that, so let me just put my little statue down. But how cute, guys. You can't tell me it's not cute. I've obviously got some of my books in here as well. And then, yeah, just use these bottom ones for storage spaces. I was really, really keen on getting this shelf because I felt like I needed to break up the space a bit, especially in a studio apartment. It is hard to sort of separate your spaces. I just knew I wanted to separate my living area from my sleeping area. So, IKEA Calyx, cannot go wrong. We love her. So this is obviously my working area. We got this shelf thing from Nitori as well. It's been so good because I feel like it's provided me so much extra storage space. So I've just got my little chair here. So again, we've got the LED light, saves a lot more energy. Got our little Daruma here, if you guys know anything about Japanese goal setting. So you're meant to color one eye when you set a goal and then color the other eye when you achieve that goal. And obviously have not achieved that goal yet. However, I can look at it every day to keep me motivated. Then we've got our little vision board, the standard, my little area for my books. And then if we move up here, we've got our little bull, which if you watched my moving to Tokyo vlog, you would have seen him getting packed in a box. Safe to say, he is in tip-top condition. I kind of want to find another space for him because he's kind of amongst the clutter here, but it is what it is. And this is a real throwback, but if you guys have watched my road trip video, this is a photo of my grandparents and their friends and I when we went on a little road trip to an onsen together. I keep my makeup up here as well, and then we've got all my little film cameras which I've collected over the years. Some of them are old family cameras, others I got myself. We've got our desk here, and if we turn around, we've got my sleeping area. So this is obviously where I sleep. I decided to get a day bed because if I have friends come over, I can just pull this out and it sort of extends into a double bed, which is awesome. I have these two big pillows here because I've got my TV over there. So if we want to just chill and watch a movie, we can do that with some back support, which is nice. I really like that my bed is next to the window as well because I'm definitely a morning person and I like to get my first hit of sunlight as fast as possible. So I'll literally roll out of bed, open my curtains, step outside. It's the best way to wake up. I've got my little posters here. And if we look over here, we've got the other side of my little shelf, which is also kind of a nice little view, I'd say. I've got the rest of my books on the other side. I've got my alarm clock from my digital detox video. If you have seen that, then you will know. I did get it working again, so it does go off consistently every morning. Thank goodness I got that fixed. We've got this little ivy over here. And then this is probably one of my favorite little things in my apartment. But I've got this like terrible calendar. I think it really brings the space together. I don't know why, but I love it a lot. And then just below my little calendar, we've got a little Godzilla postcard. How cute. Now, swiftly moving on, this is my little living room area, if you could say that. One thing that you may have seen throughout the house tour so far is that I have a few houseplants. I think houseplants are actually really important, and if you don't have any, I would highly recommend you getting some because it's one way to sort of stay connected with nature without actually being outside. I think when you're responsible for living things, it really puts things into perspective. I find taking care of my houseplants, even though, you know, they're just houseplants, but it does give me some sort of sense of responsibility for the nature that's in my house. You know, I obviously want them to thrive because I don't want dead plants in my house. Just makes me care for the environment even more than I already do. If you don't have any houseplants, I would highly recommend getting some. Even if you're not super into the whole plants thing, a pothos, for example, is very, very easy to care for. Same with the ivy up on my shelf. They don't require a lot of maintenance. They're also plants that grow really fast, so you can actually take clippings and replant replant them to make even more plants out of them. When this guy grows a little bit more, I will be doing that for sure because I think he's really beautiful. This is a variegated type. It's got the white in it. We have some new growth coming in, which is really exciting. As you can see, we've got this bulb here, which is also one of those LED controlled lights. Now, moving on to this unit here. This TV unit and the TV are both secondhand items. My dad and I went to 2nd Street. It's this chain secondhand store. They sell clothes, appliances, furniture, anything you could ever ask for, really. Both of these things together costed maybe $100. So I feel like that's a pretty good deal. So that's another thing you can do. If you're looking to furnish your apartment, try looking at secondhand stores. You never know what you can find. Obviously, it's not the newest TV ever. Do I need the newest TV ever? No, definitely not. It's been working really well for me. I'm really happy that I didn't dish out so much more money for a new appliance. I feel like that was not necessary. Another sustainable thing that you can implement. Now, one of my favorite parts of this apartment is the fact that I even have an outdoor space. Are you kidding me? It's obviously not very big, but I will show you a little something that I have outside that I'm really excited about. So obviously it's not much, but I did set up this little bee garden because I think it's really important to support our fellow pollinators.
You like jazz?
Making a little bee garden like this, it takes minimal effort, and mind you, mine's not very lavish. It's obviously just 4 pots on the floor, but it still provides them a little space so that they can come and collect nectar when needed and keep pollinating these flowers. That's a really important job for them, and I think if we can support them even just a little bit, it's worthwhile. Also, as the weather's getting warmer, sometimes I will pop my chair outside and just have my coffee out there instead of inside. Alrighty, so that concludes my full studio apartment tour out in Tokyo. I'm so over the moon that I get to live here. And granted, it is a little bit far away from the city. Like, I'm not in the city center, which is also why I can have this really nice space. This is probably the most at home I've ever felt in an apartment since moving out of home 6 years ago. So I'm really, really grateful that I get to live in this space. I hope you guys enjoyed touring my house with me. It's been a long time coming because I obviously moved a couple months ago, but I actually have only been here for 2 months. But yeah, if you like this video, give it a little like, maybe subscribe if you haven't already. I also hope that this video has provided a few ideas maybe that you could implement to be a little bit more sustainable in your daily life. I'd say a really easy one is recycling, obviously, and I think probably a lot of you are already doing that, so I don't have to say that, hopefully. Using LED lights as well. It's a super easy one, and you're probably doing it already, honestly. Let me know different ways in which you are also living sustainably and leave them in the comments below. Maybe we can help each other out. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye!
Ay, I got the recipe, never gonna let any out get the best of me. Thought it was distance, but haters is next to me.